चिंतामणि प्रकर सर्मसु कल्पवृक्ष लक्षावृते.
I will now share some of my memories during Srila Prabhupada's time in Sweden. Once Srila Prabhupada was asked why he is traveling all over the world, and he said he did this mainly to encourage his devotees, because he knew they would carry on the work of spreading Krishna consciousness when he had left those countries. So his main target was always his devotees. The first memory which I have of Srila Prabhupada in Sweden was in his little temple in Spånga. We all had chanted our japa, and all of a sudden Srila Prabhupada entered the group of chanting devotees, and he paid his full dandavat obeisances with the length of his entire body on the floor to a picture of Panchatattva. Immediately it struck me that for him this were Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda, Gadadhar, and Advaita Acharya and Srivas Thakur. It was not a picture. It took him a long time to finish his prayers, and then he came out. Another memory which I have of him was in one of the universities. He had given a talk on Varnashram, and one student objected strongly at the end. He said, "So you are thinking you are a first-class man, and therefore instructing all others?" That was implied. And Prabhupada became very moved and said, "No, I am the servant of the low-class men." This becomes very clear when I see the pictures of Srila Prabhupada's visit here in Stockholm. You see in his lectures devotees who look at him with uncomprehending eyes. But Prabhupada never gave up on us. He always patiently delivered the, let me say, unchanging truth of Krishna consciousness in his lectures. He lectured, that I also still remember, from the 5th canto. I believe it was the 5th chapter, where we find the instructions of Rishabdev to his sons, which start with the opening verse where we are encouraged in the human form of life to not go after the gratification of our senses, a thing which even village animals like hawks do. No, we should use the unique opportunity of the human form of life for self-realization. And he talked about this in detail, verse by verse, morning after morning. He went with us on morning walks. During these morning walks, we all tried to be close to him, to hear him speak, but it was not possible for all of us to be at the same time close to him. What I remember is that sometimes Prabhupada would stop and start talking about, he would pick up a theme from nature, from the houses, the things which he saw, and go into Krishna consciousness. But most probably my biggest or most clear memory, a memory which I'm dreaming of at times, was in one of his public programs. He was very enthusiastic, and after he had, so to say, finished his presentation, it would have been the time in a normal program for the presenter to now leave the stage and so on. But Prabhupada, he had talked about the samsara prayers, the prayers to the spiritual master in his lecture. Clearly a subject he chose for us, his disciples. Then he said, when I remember Hansaduta or some other devotees saying, okay, Prabhupada, thank you for your wonderful lecture. You may now continue somewhere else, something else. Prabhupada did not leave the stage. He said, there is one song I would like to sing for you. And he sang with great, great personal, he was very moved in his personal ways. He sang the Chintamani Prakara Satmasu song from Brahma Samhita, which is a description of the spiritual world. It was what he shared with us at that time. Yeah, and in that lecture, I heard him saying, you can be Krishna conscious even when if you are a drunkard. You just meditate that the beautiful taste of the wine, that is Krishna. And here I could really see that he was reaching out to the drunkards of Stockholm. And here is Prabhupada's greatness. He came really to deliver the conditioned souls to Krishna consciousness. When I think of that time, I was very immature. I was very young. I just now saw pictures of myself struggling to be next to Prabhupada, falling asleep in his lectures, all the things which young and foolish boys do. And I can only say, looking back on that visit of Srila Prabhupada to the land of Sweden, he was a pure devotee, or he is a pure devotee, who kept Krishna in his heart and was compelled, you can say, or motivated by the sacred order of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, his own spiritual master, to come and deliver the pure eternal message of Krishna consciousness as it is, intact. He was not afraid to talk about Krishna's system of Varnashram. He did not dilute it. He was not thinking he could not sing the samsara prayers to a public audience. He was boldly preaching the message of Krishna consciousness, and I believe it was his, let me say, integrity, his tremendous spiritual depths, like a mountain. Prabhupada is deep. You see only a little part of the mountain. The big part is deep, deep, deep in the ground. So with that depth and that integrity and that love for Krishna, he certainly reached all his disciples and those who were fortunate to be at that time and see him, hear him, or even be touched by the breeze which touched his body and fell upon them. They were the most fortunate people in the universe.
Kalpamriksha Laksha